Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, whatever you want to call it. It's 6:30. It's Friday night. I'm having a bit of a random stream this evening, so I'm doing some work on the RPG as I do most Fridays. And I thought that for a little while, for maybe an hour or so, I'd stream it to you guys, see if anybody's interested in having a look at what we do and where we are. So, Edarin, hello, dude. How you doing? Yeah, I missed your stream last night, Edarin. Sorry, I did want to watch that as well because I want to see how good that model was. That Lego kit. Because I am contemplating buying them. I actually noticed they're quite cheap in comparison to some Lego kits. But I saw a bulldozer kit as well, which I thought looked rather nice at about 15 quid. So, yeah, Lego. So yeah, a bit different tonight. I'm going to do some RPG work rather than actually sit and play a game, which is what I'm not allowed to do because I have work to do. And here we go. So yeah, this is essentially what I'm doing at the moment. The chatty is on the window, is on the screen, but it's maybe not going to be that clear. I don't want to kind of obscure what I'm doing in the background, so actually what I might do is I might actually take the chatty window off to make it a bit more clear what I'm actually doing on screen. And I've not done this before. I'm trying this for the first time. So I've not quite got my windows squared away at the moment. Not entirely sure what screen I'm on there. So yeah, we're a bit of an odd size. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on because I'm using TeamViewer to share this window from the other computer, but it doesn't seem to want to grab the whole window. Hey Fiery Toad, how you doing? Oh yeah. I told you I'm doing Elite Encounter stuff, and Elite Encounter stuff is out of bounds for Mad Dog and his crew, so if you're not going to be nice, you can fuck off. I'm just trying to sort out my window here because it doesn't seem to want to be particularly behaving at the moment. Entire window. Let's try the entire window, see if I can get everything there. Why is that grabbing chatty? I don't want it to grab chatty. Wanted to grab Kadia. There we go, that's better. Let's see if I can stretch that out now. That should be the whole window now. Yes, it is. Well done. Yeah. So yeah, hi Toady, how are you doing? Glad you can make it across for a quick look. I see we have sneaking in there, we've got Bubble Map Gaming, so hello. Right, so let's have a go at this and see how it goes, shall we? Essentially what I'm going to be doing is tonight I'm going to finish off this vehicle sheet, which is the record sheet for the vehicles in the game. It will be used for both the narrative rules and for the miniatures rules as well. So there's sections on there that will be useful for both. Sometimes some will be useful for one or the other, and that's there. So this is the back of the sheet at the moment, which is the bit that no one's ever actually seen because I've not released this side of the sheet to anybody. It includes utility mounts, which haven't as yet been put into the miniatures game. Ammunition bays, which I've not finalised the design of yet, but I'm going to release for testing and just see what feedback I get. But these are some of the elements that once the game's actually released, or the book's actually released, I can modify as needs be with live downloads and so on, because it will be a multimedia experience after all. We've got cargo manifest, we've got passenger manifest. Passenger manifest may be a little large for what's needed, but I've stuck it on there as was from previous design. So hopefully that should be fine. I'm not entirely sure about what's put in these utility mount slots at the moment because I'm not overly sure what needs to go in there. I was thinking I might have a quick look at some of the stuff that's on Elite on the other machine where I'm streaming from, because I'm streaming from the TeamViewer window. Just hoping that if I do other things on the screen, then the TeamViewer window won't vanish behind something else. It probably shouldn't, but when I move into the game mode, it might do. Kind of don't want to take that risk. So what I could do is, rather than sort of do that, if I have a look at the equipment list in the Wikia, that might be more interesting. So ED Wiki, search for utility mount. Yeah, so point defense turret. Cargo scanner, chaff launcher, ECM. Oh, it's a ridiculously big advert at the top of the Wikia page now. That's not great. So we have different ratings for cargo scanners. So maybe I need to put in a ratings option there. So if I look to the front of the sheet, grab one of those. Okay. So, because I'm going to be doing quite a bit of sort of writing and concentrating on this, it's not going to be a particularly talky stream. So I'll have some music on while we work, which is entertaining for both of us, or all of us. Well, yeah, both of us. Tony's gone away. It's just me and Edrin. Yay! Not that yay is for Tony going away, but if he's going to be talking about the 7-0 thing, then he can go away. Oh dear. Okay, so we need to move that down a little bit more actually, just to make sure it's got enough space. That'll do. I ain't got time to eat. Oops, let's grab something I shouldn't have. There we go. Okay. So rating is one of the things that's on there quite a lot. Mass, integrity I'm not overly fussed about. We're gonna have a power draw. Yes, we are actually. So, dude, I know the feeling. I've had a long shitty date with myself today. And to be honest, at the minute I don't even feel like doing RPG stuff. But I have to, because it's not going to do itself and I have a deadline. What happened in your day, dude? Why so serious? Put that N back in. Okay, rating. Upgrading 50 computers. Yeah, I can see. See how it would be. 8 till 7. That's a hell of a day, mate. Nearly a 12-hour day. Some keyboard layout thing was haywire. The main policies governing the computers said 50 computers refusing to have the Norwegian keyboard layout. Well. More to do. God, 16 left. Jeez. My heart goes out to you, mate. Okay, the reason I'm doing now, just so those of you who know, who are listening, is just realised that there is no size to a utility mount. It doesn't have a class. Which is what size represents. So rather than having it being in the main box, I have to change this bit to rating, and then I'll change rating to mass. So RPG players will be able to calculate what mass they carry on the ship and whether or not it's going to affect their information. In fact, I'm not necessarily going to have a, what would you call it, I'm not necessarily going to have some kind of narrative method of tracking mass. I'm going to leave that up to the GM and the players to sort out for themselves. Whether or not they want to have that level of detail in their games is entirely up to them. So RTNG. Hey, thank you for the host, Playpay. Hi, Playpay, how you doing? Right, and change that to mass. Yay! All hail Friday! Bringer of the weekend. I wonder. I'm going to shrink that a bit, I think. Doesn't need to be as big as 10-point text. It's a bit too in your face. Okay. Someone said to me the other day that I am a little bit too anal retentive when it comes to this. I am looking at here the coordinates actually on the screen in pixels of where each bit of text is, and that's saying obviously hundreds of pixels, so I'm changing it so that it's not hundreds of pixels out, and everyone's saying that I'm a bit kind of OCD for doing that. However, the reason I am doing it is because if things are out of alignment to the pixels when you print them off, or when you export them to a graphic, like a PNG or so on, then they can be a little bit blurry. So I'm actually trying to retain the clarity of the actual text, especially on the x-axis, because the x-axis tends to be the one that throws off the blurring, the rendering, sorry. I can get a quicker way by doing that. Yeah, it has to look professional, but it's not even just a look of professional. It's not even just a look professional thing. It's got to be clear when it's printed out. Which, if you want to say that looks professional, then that's fair enough. But I just know that essentially it has to look clear. Otherwise, people who have got dodgy eyesight, like me, to be honest with you, aren't going to be able to see it properly. You'll notice that pretty much everything sort of lines up text-wise. Text's a bit of an awkward thing to manage because text tends not to conform to the rules of pixelization. So it doesn't, like the length and height, tend not to correspond very well. It's 43. This is stuff I've not aligned when I was changing the text sizes. So they should all be lined up. No, they aren't. God damn it. Sometimes, you know, something happens on this bloody thing. It just messes up all the alignments. don't often know what it is. It's like I maybe nudge something, get you on something. Not like, yeah, me too. I do get OCD with it. I will be honest about it. See what I mean? That's just completely out of alignment. Okay, 4. Oops. 8. 1. Should I stream the breakdown of the two vehicles prior to the combined build? Yes, yeah. Start off your combined build stream with that. I'd be to be quite honest. They're all okay. Make sure that's okay. They're fine. The hell is that all about? That's a clear 23. So 334 to 357 is 23. 665. Should be 688. Or it's not. 688.5 is what it should be. Rather than go through all that and change them all, I'll just redo that. Which is D 1, 2, 3, 4. Good evening, Mr. Junks. How are you doing? Whoops. What did I just do? Open the document properties for some reason. Don't want to do that. Well, that shouldn't be at 0.5. Are they all 0.5? Yes, they are. They all need to go up there. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so that's the back lined up. I just need to move that up a little bit like that. That'll do. Centre it in the box, a bit more like that. Yeah, that's fine. I think that needs to go up a bit. Yeah, like that. That's better. Okie dokie. Back done. Back onto the front, just make sure everything's fine there. High point groups are okay. Standard modules. Let's standardise that design. Rather than having different layouts for different things. This is all just fettling, basically trying to make sure that everything's as consistent as I can make it. Because if it's not consistent, then it's more difficult to look at, more difficult to use, and not as user friendly. So it's worthwhile getting this little stuff right before letting it go. Okay, so that's that standardised. So that's all the same design now. So power plant, bulkhead, shields, engines, FSD, fuel tank, fine. What common stats do we need for them? We've got the size, so that's the class. Internal compartment, size and class again. Now we're doing these by rating. Yes, we are, so I think what I'm going to have to do grab one of those rating power boxes from the back. I'll grab mass and power, sorry. the principle of this design is you have a couple of the standard stats for the standard modules. So the mass and power, everything's got mass and power, but from there quite a lot of the stuff changes. It's all different. Hence what the 4 lines underneath are. So you can actually manually write on there what you need to write on there. Likewise, a space there to write on what you've actually fitted in the internal compartment. Have to write pretty small. Excuse me. Nah. I'm playing with a bit of a new video layout, as you can probably see from the way things look on the screen there. I've been playing with blue screening, green screening, chroma key, whatever you want to call it. Because I was watching Kate Click's broadcast a couple of weeks ago when she was giving us all some instructions on how to do this sort of thing. So I have actually set up a very, very, very rudimentary green screen. Which, get this, right, it's a lamp, a standard lamp from what you would normally sit on your in your living room, with one of those daylight bulbs in it that is perched on top of my bookcase, pointing essentially at me. Behind me I have a curtain rail propped up against the door and on a box on top of a wardrobe, on which is hung a throw rug, a kind of turquoisey blue throw rug, which is the cheapest green screen you could ever imagine. It has cost me literally nothing because I used basically what I had lying around the house, and bugger me, it works. Look, they're like transparent bits all behind me and stuff. So that's working quite well. Yeah, on a budget, very low budget, but it works. It's grainy. I mean, the fact is, this little image here is fine because there's no problem with it. But if I zoom that in, you will see there's graining and transparency problems and overkeying and stuff like that. So I mean, if I look at that, there you go. It's horrible. Got all that stuff around the chair, and there's a bit of a problem there because my face actually casts a shadow around, just around about where like where my glasses are and where the microphone is. There's like the shadow of my head on the back, so that's where it's starting to grain a little bit there. But it does work, and look, even my eyes, which are kind of blue, don't actually chroma key out, so that's quite impressive. So it works. It works actually a lot better than I thought it would. So I'm quite happy with that. It'll do for now, until I can get enough money to try and buy something half decent. I have actually got another option for doing this. Rather than actually blocking the door and meaning I can't get out, I thought I could actually use one of my Elite Encounters banners that I've got for going to conventions and stuff, and use that instead. So I'm going to give that a go, but they're in the car, so I haven't actually managed to bring them in yet. Because they're close enough to the back of me not to need the sheet is close enough to the back of me so that I shouldn't need a big area to do it all in, so it should work quite well. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. It does the job for the size of webcam that I've got. If I get a better quality webcam one day, then I'll start looking at doing this properly. But you know, if I can actually start making some money on this stream, like if the donation buttons and so on, and people start donating money to the stream so that I can improve it and all that kind of stuff, then that's exactly what I'll do. I'll start using proper green screening, proper stuff, and a headset that doesn't have this weird whining noise in it all the time, which is a bit odd. I need to try and work out some way of stopping that from happening, but at the moment it's not happening. Oh. But no, I mean, I think for the size of little box I've got there, it works quite well. It means I can put little things in the background as well, which I have done. I've got a little image that I can use for exactly that, so I'll quickly show you that. I'm getting slightly off topic from what I'm supposed to be doing on this stream, but hey ho. So yeah, so I've got a cockpit overlay that I can use. So if I just move that down to where it needs to be, so it's behind me basically. And get the right mouse and edit the scene. And there you go. So if I put that there, say, and then move my camera image a bit further back, make it a bit smaller, then you've got me in the cockpit of a ship. Admittedly it's a bit low. I can probably fix it by moving the image down a little bit, couldn't I? So if I do that, and there you go, I'm in the cockpit of my ship. I is in the cockpit of my asp, innit? Now if that was on like the background of Elite Dangerous, then that'd be cool, because I would have space in the background then. Or I could just put a space background on it or something like that. But yeah, that's the thoughts, so I'm going to remove that because I'm not using that. And then I'll put my camera back in the way it's meant to be. Back where it's meant to be. So there we go. Hello. Editing, if it works, it works. I'm thinking of getting a green screen set up later this year. Yeah, do it. I mean, if you're serious about streaming, if you're serious about wanting to do it sort of as a hobby and sort of do it properly and so on, then yeah, by all means, a green screen is a good idea. It makes it look a little bit more professional. Everyone seems to lean towards the possibility that having a camera is good for streaming because it gives a face. It gives a face to the stream that you're doing, and it's less thingy. It's less impersonal. It's more interactive. It's more friendly if there's a face to put to the name. The reason I don't use it on the main Elite Dangerous stream is because about 10 minutes into each stream, the camera tends to go all jumpy, and I don't know how to get around that. And I don't have any streaming mates who've had the same problem who can advise me on it, so I don't bother with it. Right, anyway, back on topic. Right, I think for now I'm done. I think what I'll perhaps do Hey Garzini, how you doing, matey bobs? Good to see ya. This is a kind of test stream, streaming and doing a bit of Elite Encounters work, the RPG basically, and seeing how it goes, and if it's one of those things that people like, then I'll do more often. Okay, let's put a little line in for the text, like I've done on the other side. So, right. That, as far as I'm aware, should be the vehicle sheet actually done. So, that should be all kinds of awesome. Alright, so if I save a copy of that out as 3A car vector record file front. Okay, yes, replace it. That I think needs to come down a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Save a copy. PDF. Vehicle record file rear. I could call it back, but front and back don't go alphabetically together, so I'll call it rear so that the front's the first file and rear's the second file. And I want to export that whole thing as a PNG image. So that's the rear. Export that. Back to layers. Hide all that gubbins. Back to the front. Back to export. Change that to front. Change caps lock. And then do it again. And export. Replace. So that should mean that in my file area will work. Should have the PDF there. And that has exported properly with the correct margins. As you can see, the good thing about using a Inkscape, which is a vector editor, is that, oh, I broke it, is that most everything that I've used is a vector graphic, apart from this, which is a rendered vector graphic, which obviously renders as a bitmap. No matter how much I zoom in, it's slow because this takes up a hell of a lot of memory. Fat. Oh no, actually that's not bad. It's only an extra 200k. I've broke everything now. Do. Okay, we'll zoom down there and zoom in. As you can see, everything is crystal clear all the way down to the bottom. Are you looking at a full colour printed RPG, Selezen? Why yes, Garzini, I am indeed. The print on demand stuff, which I'm doing, will be printed by a print shop, and it will be full colour. The full colour plates inside it will be full colour plates. The character sheets and any cards that go with it will also be printed in full colour, but there will be black and white versions that can be used for eco-friendly people and for things like the loose leaf one, for example. I'm thinking the loose leaf one I'll do as black and white ones and provide people with the colour ones as PDF files. So yeah, the bound books will be full colour. That's the plan anyway. Not entirely sure at the moment how I'm going to do the loose leaf ones that people pledged for. I was intending on doing them on my home printer, but my home printer is a bit flaky. It doesn't tend to like printing double-sided because it has a bit of a shit feeder, so it can occasionally feed 2 pages at a time or 3 pages at a time, or something will get stuck, and then because as it gets hotter it gets less reliable because it is a dirt sheet printer. But the problem with it is, being a dirt sheet printer, is that the ink for it actually costs more than the printer cost, so I'm not entirely sure what to do. Contemplating that the loose leaf one I may also use a print shop to print them off, because ultimately it'll probably work out cheaper and less problematic to do it that way. So as much colour as I can get into as much things as I can within the price point that I have for doing everything with. Right then, I think I am finished faffing about with the character sheet. Now the reason that I was faffing about with the character sheet is because I was starting to write up the Vehicle Combat Simulator, and I need to have screenshots of stuff to put into this. Now I'm only drafting this in Word at the moment because I don't want to incorporate it into the full document at the moment. That was why I did PNG exports of them. So there's the front. And there's the back. Yes, Garzini, I shall indeed do that at some point. If I'll do it now, as soon as you mentioned it. There you go. Right. It's the same music I play on my usual streams, Garzini. It's by a friend of mine by the name of Synaptics. Alright, thank you for that, Edward. I'll pass that on. I'm sure my mate will be very pleased to know that. So yeah, Synaptics, also known as Aaron Fimister, is a guy that I knew when I was living in Scotland, from my old hometown. I got to know him sort of rather late in my life up there, and only really knew him for a couple of years before I headed down south. I met him as part of a fan club for a certain science fiction television program that you may be familiar with. It starts with Star and ends with Trek. But don't hold that against us. We're lovely guys, honestly. But yeah, he's been into doing music since I met him. At that point, we had Amigas, and he and I were sort of very fond of an application called Octamed, and he used that to make music, and I used it to fart around in, because I'm not particularly great at making music, because I ain't got the patience or the time for it. I did actually do 2 discs of music tracks that I made, and I have the discs actually up on that shelf over there, but the problem is I haven't got anything I can use to convert the Amiga discs over to PC format, so I can actually get the files off, because there are loads of stuff that you can get that will load in mod files from Octamed and let you use them. Is the music for sale? Yes, it is. I've usually got a URL up actually on the thing when I'm playing the music in my other streams. But if you just give me a second, I'll go and grab his web address. Is purchasable stuff. He's got stuff on Bandcamp as well, and he has got stuff that he asks you to pay for, but he's quite happy to let you stream stuff. Been to a Trek convention, Albert Hall '95. Yeah, I've been to one convention. It wasn't a Star Trek convention. It was a kind of hybrid Babylon 5 Star Trek general sci-fi convention, primarily Babylon 5 and Star Trek, and to be honest, mainly Babylon 5. But it was called Wolf 359, and it was in Blackpool. And I can't think what year it was, but if you let me think, it was not long after I came to England, so it must have been about 95, maybe 96. Yeah, I think it was 95 or 96. Yeah, so it was Wolf 359 at Blackpool anyway, and yeah, it was a 2-day event. I went for both days, had lots and lots of fun, and there were loads of people there. Peter David, the author, was the person I really went to go and see, because he's my he was my favourite author for a while. He is one of my favourite authors now. I love his Star Trek stuff because it's brilliant. The way he writes it is brilliant. Some of his independent non-comic stuff, like novels he's written are really good. And whatever subject he writes on, it just always seems to be a very entertaining read. He puts such good comedy and such good characterization into his books, and actually like if he's writing a book that's based on something else, like a Star Trek book for example, he catches the spirit of whatever it is he's writing about very, very well. And he's also a thunderingly awesome comic writer. I'm not a big comics fan, and I wasn't really reading his comics at the time I went to the convention, but I followed him around like a puppy trying to get my copy of Q Squared signed. I carried that book everywhere with me, even to the most inappropriate of places, like a fancy dress disco is where I finally managed to get him to sign the bloody thing for me, and I harangued him the entire time. Who else was there? Andreas Katsoulis was there, sadly dead now. Played Jakar in Babylon 5 and played Tomalak in Star Trek The Next Generation, and various other parts and things that he's done. Played the One-Armed Man in The Fugitive as well. Yeah, there you go, bet you didn't know that. But he was there, telling us all about his times on Babylon 5. Michael O'Hare was meant to be there, but wasn't. And as I actually say that, I seem to realise why he wasn't there. Because I don't know if you heard, but Michael O'Hare left Babylon 5 under a cloud of some secrecy, and nobody wanted to talk about it. Nobody was willing to say anything about it. And it wasn't until he died that JMS actually revealed that he basically had mental problems. He had some serious psychological issues going on, and it essentially killed his career. He got help for it a few times, but he always backslid and so on, and eventually it got the better of him. And I think that one of the reasons why he didn't attend that convention was that he was going through a bad time with that. But yeah, so sad, very sad. But yeah, it was awesome convention. Billy Mummy was there. Bill Mummy, he's a sound guy. He's awesome. If you don't know him, he's the guy that played Will Robinson in the original Lost in Space series, and was Linear in Babylon 5 as well. He had a part in Deep Space Nine as well for an episode. But again, a very lovely guy. The people I was with at the convention, one of them was a great big fan of him and Linear, a big Minbari fan. And he agreed to have a photo taken with her, and it was her proudest moment. Awesome chap. But most people that do sci-fi stuff generally are. Oops. That's the only convention I've ever been to. The only sci-fi convention I've ever been to. The only. So I can't really say that because Fantasticon and LaveCon now class themselves as sci-fi conventions and not elite conventions, don't they? So, okay, it's the only sort of big, large-scale, organised Star Trek / sci-fi television programming convention that I've been to. Apart from that, all I've been to are elite conventions. I've been to a couple of Star Wars events, but I wouldn't call them conventions because they're not sort of like regular things organised by the same people. Oh, the Trek one was the only one I've been to. I did have Shatner's Decay and Koenig. I do still intend to go to Elite Tech then this year. Good, good! It'd be awesome to see you there. Hope you got the same one as me. So I'm not going to Elite Meet. It's 100% certain I'm probably not, well, let's say 98% certain, because there are no absolutes, as we Jedi know, that I'm not going to Elite Meet this year. I am, however, going to LaveCon on my own, apparently this year. No one else wants to come with me. Well, no one else can come with me. My son's working and my wife doesn't want to come because she spent a lot of time being bored last year, which is fair enough. The layout of the hotel wasn't disabled friendly as such, and we're going to the same place again this year, and she's not confident that she'll be able to get around. So she decided to give it a miss this year, which will be the second LaveCon she's missed, and she's been to everything else. Colin! It's Mr. Colin! How's it going, dude? You'll be there! Woo! What, Elite Meet or at LaveCon? I know you said you're going to LaveCon, I'm not sure what you said about Elite Meet though. Do 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 do. Oh, I'm sleepy man. LaveCon, yay. I should be at Fantasticon as well, to be honest. It's in... Shit, what month is it? Did it say it was November this year? They're pushing it later and later in the year. But yeah, apparently it's supposed to be November, but I'll be at that if I can possibly make it. Because by then, the book will be out. Hopefully by LaveCon the book will be out. It's exciting stuff. December? I thought Drew said it was November. That's shocking. That's really quite late. That means that there's quite a long gap in between LaveCon and Fantasticon now then. Because they were quite close together to start with, because one was July, one was August. Then last year one was July, one was October. Now we're looking at another 2 months in between them. So there's space to fit another convention in there, guys, if anyone's listening. I agree. Yep, definitely. At least once every 3 months. Should be a quarterly thing. Not had a coffee all day, Garzine. That's terrible. I've had a double shot cappuccino this morning, and I've had 4 cans of Coke. No, I've had 2 bottles of Coke and 3 cans of Coke today. Coke Zero, obviously, because I'm not allowed the sugary one. So I've had a shitload of caffeine, but I'm not really feeling it because I'm still shattered. Okay, spelling's went to shit today. I don't do anything regularly, Garzini. Started off on the coffee this morning at about 9 o'clock. No, about 8 o'clock, sorry. Normally I don't usually have one till about 10. So that's when I'm starting to feel the pinch. And I try not to have them after 12 because then I don't sleep at night. But today I've had this necessity to have caffeine because all week I've struggled so badly with being tired. Ridiculous. Ooh, Frontier newsletter's out. Cool. I'll have to take that later. See what they're not telling us this week. See, Coke can number 5, 4, 3. Other brands of cola are available. Well, of course he's bald. He obviously hasn't bought a hair pack from the Frontier store. It's the wrong mouse. Okay, Colin, I'm not sure how long I'm going to be on tonight. I'm only broadcasting this for a little while Usually I'm supposed to finish this at 9, but I'm probably going to try and stay until 10, because I'm going to go and have a chat with everyone downstairs for a bit, and then I'll see if I can stay up here till 10. But fire me a Skype message or Facebook message or whatever, and if I'm on, we can always have a chat. Didn't know you're on the phone, Edwin. Story stuff in the newsletter, eh? Let's have a shufty then. Was he asking for help with computer stuff, possibly, or? Oh, they've included some stuff, links to the books and so on. Well, that's a first for a while. Oh well, that's cool. I see Bubble and Jenna are having a fight still, so I'll leave that bit. That's just pissing contest all over, but at least they're doing it for charity, I suppose. Earlier today at 9 AM, Sushi Boy Simon started his 28-hour live stream for charity, even though it's 48 hours, never mind. I am playing Elite Dangerous Arena on Twitch TV for 48 hours to raise money for the National Autistic Society. I will be giving away prizes that I have made with my 3D printer. You can see Simon on his channel here, Twitch TV/SushiBoySimon. That sounds awesome. That sounds very, very awesome. Nice one. Go watch that, and if you can donate, I'm a big fan of autistic stuff, or a big fan of stuff being done in support and awareness of autism, because I've had quite a lot to do with autism over the last few years. My misbegotten stepson is unfortunately autistic, and we did try and support him as much as we could and try and find support for ourselves as well, and anything that we got we tried to share with the community through a website called Butterflies, which was moderately successful at the time, but interest just kind of panned away and it just became a bit of a dead site now. So it's something that I would need to spend a lot of time pushing for it to work the way that it needs to work, because it never really got to the point where I could let it go and let it just thingy on its own, let it grow. But never mind. But yeah, so quite a lot of things to do with autism. I know it's a hell of a thing to try and cope with, and it's so difficult to cope with because every case is different. So everyone has a fight on their hands trying to get support, recognition, everything. It's ridiculous. So yeah, anything that can be done to raise awareness and raise money for it and help people with it and help people deal with it, because it's not just the people who have autism that suffer. The people trying to help them, like their family and their supporters and their carers and whoever it is that's involved with them, need help as well, because autism is a hell of a thing to deal with as a family member. When you're watching your child, I'm not going to say fail, because they don't fail, it's the system that fails them. They do their best in a lot of ways. They do their best to try and do as good as they can, as well as they can, but people don't understand the struggle that they actually have to try and achieve what they need to achieve. Schools are horrendous for it. I have never seen or heard of a school that actually gets autistic treatment right. They'll be able to handle one student because that student just fits into what they understand about autism and they can help that student, but other students will just fall by the wayside because it's not recognised, and that's ridiculous. In this day and age, when we've had so much help and recognition for various different diseases and conditions and so on, that autism, which is one of the most common things from what I've seen, because everything seems to be on the autistic spectrum nowadays, it just amazes me that stuff still gets missed like that. People assume that there's not a problem, whereas people need to start assuming that there is a problem and try and negate that problem before writing it off and before writing that person off. But anyway, high horse, hi ho silver. Okay, so that's the initial intro into the RPG's miniatures combat rules. So I'm going to go to a new page. You needed help opening a downloaded Excel file into Excel. Okay, that's that's pretty bad. There's a guy that I know that I used to work with. He has a friend who has been badgering him day in, day out for at least the last 10 years from what I've heard, asking the most ridiculous simple questions every single time. The guy will not listen to what's being said to him. He doesn't note anything down. He doesn't retain any information. He just listens to what's being said, does what's being said, and then instantly forgets it. And yeah, it frustrates my mate. Something chronic. But just won't learn it for himself. Let's just say that this guy could buy an idiot's guidebook and it'd be too confusing for him. Reading simple Wikipedia is too much of a chore, apparently. Okay, so converting character stats is where we come back onto the content that's in here. That's every user, everybody's work. Oh, that's one of the horrible things about being an IT person working in a non-IT company as well, is that you quite often find that your tech support, if you're not the tech support for your company and you have to contact tech support, if you're a technical person, then it's ridiculously difficult to get anything done because you're the problem, basically. And I've been on the other end of this several times when I've been tech support for a company that has bought lots of PCs and their IT department is setting it all up, and I've been trying to help their IT department try and set things up because I know how our machines work and they don't. But being an IT person trying to get IT support, you think you know everything, you think you know better, and you think you know what everyone's going to say. So you go 4 steps ahead of what they're trying to do, and then you usually make a mistake, or you do it wrong, or you don't go where they wanted to go. So you cause the problem. As a technical expert, you cause the problem for those technical experts trying to help you. And I have to try so hard not to do that when I'm getting technical support at work, because we're not even allowed to install our own software because it's a secure environment, it's got encryption, it's got all sorts of different things on it, and they audit and monitor all the machines to make sure everything's licensed and everything's been installed and everyone's got permission for everything. So when someone is trying to install a bit of software for me, I'm off doing it all myself, and they shout at me. They shout at me all the time because I'm a nasty bastard. So yeah, I have to be very careful with that one. I also get really frustrated at people that do things the long way. Like, rather than using keyboard shortcuts or using icons, they'll go through every long-winded way of doing something, like close a window when they could have used the back button, and then open up another window. Or go into my computer, then go to various different places, and then go click on desktop, and then create a shortcut. When all they had to really do was just close all the windows, right click on the desktop and click create shortcut. Or create folder, which is usually what they're trying to do. Having to sit and watch that is frustrating as fuck. It's ridiculous. Oh yeah, it's little things like that, just ridiculous little things. Thing is though, you know that they get just as irritated at you. When you do things your way, they're sitting there looking at you going, that's just too wrong, that's just wrong, you don't have to do it like that, it's much easier to do it this way. That's it, guys. I have a phone call to take. And that's me being summoned. So I'm going to have to draw this to a close now. I hope you've enjoyed this little touch. I've not really done as much as I hoped I would get done by this point in time, because I've spent too long talking to you guys again. But never mind. I hope you've enjoyed this little insight, and I hope anyone who watches this on YouTube, which is where it will end up at some point, has enjoyed this little look, this brief look into what goes into making the RPG and how it's done. I honestly, when I'm not broadcasting, and well, sometimes even when I am broadcasting, if I've not got chat on, it tends to get done a bit quicker than this. I tend to get a lot more done. But yes, this is a bit of an idea how it goes. So yes, I shall be off for now, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you are into the RPG and you want to let people know about it, then by all means share this video. It'll give them an idea of what goes into it as well, and a bit of information about who I am, which apparently is important these days. So anyway, take care people, and I shall see you all around another time. Bye bye.